Regulators, mount up. It was a clear black night, a clear white moon.
See, look, Jeff Jarrett, not only does he have some control of the company, some control of people's destinies that work there, and now he has control of Karen Angle.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult for Kurt to work with Jarrett because of that situation. Dixie got wind of it, and Jeff Jarrett was suspended for a while. Yeah. Well, supposedly suspended. The other half is Jeff Jarrett backed off from wrestling and being on camera and from the company because this was just too personal subject. So what happens? What did Dixie do when Jeff Jarrett was gone? Fired most of his friends, his closest friends that helped. I'm talking about backstage agents,
right?
Some other writers, some assistants of Jeff Jarrett's gone.
Wow. Kurt Angle to WWE, where should he go?
I think he needs to go back to SmackDown.
Think SmackDown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He helped make SmackDown. I
think SmackDown would be a good point too, because they can carry that Sting versus Kurt Angle over without mentioning TNA.
Yeah.
And start drawing over TNA fans to see it on the WWE platform.
Yeah.
But it would also be nice to see Kurt Angle on Raw. You got Swagger versus Kurt Angle. MVP versus Kurt Angle. You got a lot of talent on Raw that's not being used that Kurt Angle can fit in until he gets back to the top.
But again, they'll switch all these guys around to work around the new guys.
Yeah, I think so.
Booker T, Sting, Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. And they got that new pay-per-view coming out, bragging rights. Supposedly supposed to be SmackDown versus Raw. Right?
Yeah.
They're advertising it that way.
Yeah.
There are new video games coming out.
Yep.
So, maybe they make some moves right there. Maybe they start switching people over to characters, getting ready for some of these guys to start coming over to WWE.
The biggest problem that TNA has is that it's Vince Russo, for one.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Jeff Jarrett is too.
Yeah.
Dixie Carter, who is allowing the top talent, the old guys, to run the company just like they did with WCW.
Yeah.
I think to make TNA better, I mentioned to this, and I mentioned this to you, and I'm going to mention it again, that you either bring in, you get rid of Russo, get rid of Jarrett. You either bring in Paul Heyman, or you bring in Bischoff.
Yeah, Paul Heyman's the better solution for TNA, I believe.
Well, Bischoff
is great, don't get me wrong, but he's just going to cost too much.
He's going to cost too much, but he could bring Hogan in.
He can bring Hogan in, but I think everything he's going to ask of TNA is going to be something they can't afford. I think Heyman is the smarter one. He can actually write some really good storylines, use characters properly, and he can build the company with the limited resources they have.
Let's switch gears and let's talk about Big Papa Pump.
He's got to go.
He's got to go. But the thing is, he works. He put it this way: he's a good worker.
Yeah. But
he sucks.
He sucks because his muscles are so big he can't move properly.
Well,
not that he's not a bad wrestler. It's just he's so out of shape with his. I mean, not out of shape. He's in really good shape, but his muscles are so big. You could tell this guy's not flexible for anything. He can't even bend over to tie a shoe
or wipe his ass.
He can't do anything. I mean, this guy is just too big to do the moves that he's required to do. He can't do it.
I think he still has his brother Rick to wipe his ass, though.
No.
But how much time do you think he has?
I don't think he has any. I think he's been done for the last 2 years.
I think he's on borrowed time.
I think the last 2 years he's been done.
Kevin Nash, how much time do you think he has?
He's been done since WCW. Guy's horrible. He can't beat Khali in a race if he even had a head start.
So you lose your top three guys. Kurt Angle, Sting, Booker T, it sounds like is a guaranteed thing.
Yeah, that's Sting, money in the pocket there.
It sounds like it's a guaranteed thing.
That's big money in the pocket.
Now, if you were anybody else from the TNA organization, wouldn't you want to jump on that gravy train over there at the WWE?
I would too. And the problem is a lot of these guys are not. They're going to ride this ship until it's done, and it's going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah.
I think Vince is going to look down upon that and say, oh, he chose that.
Yeah.
If there was anyone on the TNA roster right now who I think is smart enough to go to WWE and make a big impact, would be that Robert Roode.
Well, they were looking into him.
They were for a while.
Right.
And he would fit in anywhere.
They were even
on SmackDown, Raw, ECW, fit anywhere and become a star.
They were even looking at Abyss.
Abyss is another big name. The only problem with him is
he's too much of a Kane.
Yeah,
we already have
exactly. That. You're going to have another Kane, but if you put him on SmackDown, you have Khali, you have Kane. You can build those big man fights again.
Barely have Khali.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You can do that again there. It would work.
But you know what, though? If you look at it, it's the old guys that are wanting to leave TNA.
Yeah.
And that will put over Samoa Joe again.
Yeah.
That will put over AJ Styles again.
Yeah.
And that would open a lot of money and opportunities
to get new talent.
And
then
then when you do that, you bring in someone like Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And you have them run the show.
And you know who I think needs to lead that, and you might not agree, is Jeff Jarrett.
What do you mean?
Jeff Jarrett's got to lead that.
Lead it?
He's got to lead the younger guys back to the top.
No,
I think he made the big mistake of bringing all these old-time guys in, saying, hey, we can afford this, we can do that. Whoever's idea was to bring all these big guys in messed it up. They were doing great. Jeff Jarrett's got a big fan following in TNA, regardless if you like him or not. He is the heart and soul of that company. So you have to have Jarrett lead these young guys back to the top. It has to stay away from those old guys, man.
I say Heyman all the way.
Well, Heyman, yeah, to build the stories and all that, but you have to have someone who's been there a long time to create good feuds, to push these characters. And Jeff Jarrett is the one to do it. You can't have Nash start fighting younger guys to bring them back up. You can't have Samoa Joe. They're already established. You need to have Jeff Jarrett, the guy who started it, the one who's got to end it.
It doesn't take that much of somebody to actually book the matches. I mean, we are talking about Vince Russo.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Russo sucks, man. I can't believe he's still in this industry, man.
I don't understand it either. But for some reason, Dixie Carter likes him.
I don't get it.
So, how much time do you think TNA has? I think they're on.
I personally think they have a lot of time. As long as they start sneaking people out and start making some moves, they have a lot of time.
I think they're much like Captain Lou Albano, who was in hospice care. I mean, they're just waiting to die out.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I think they can do it. The only problem is they need to find money. They need to find it now. And if that means dropping some of these big names, then so be it. Start dropping them. Start taking control of your company and just do it. It's not gonna hurt you. Steiner hasn't been performing in the last few months. Booker T hasn't been performing. That's a lot of money you can drop right there.
Yeah.
Get him out. Make some moves. And Kevin Nash, he probably cost a lot. Get him out.